So what's this Advent word? It's from the Latin for coming. Something is on the way. It's expected. That makes sense. It's the period of waiting for Christmas to come. If you're a kid, that's unbearably exciting. If you're an adult, well, that varies. But that's not actually where all of this started, waiting to open presents. Advent is about waiting for someone, and that someone is Jesus. People were waiting a long time for him to come. Take this first part of Luke chapter 1, which, if you've not read it before, doesn't kick off with what we think of as the beginning of the Christmas story. Instead, we're dropped straight into the lives of an older couple, Zechariah and Elizabeth. He's a priest, and he works in the temple at Jerusalem. Now, we might then ask, and I asked this when I first read the Gospels, what's that got to do with Christmas? Well, spoiler alert, they're related to Mary, plus they're going to have a baby who's really important about 30 years later. What we find is they've been waiting for a baby who has never come throughout their lives. Now that's about to change, but right now they are people that have waited a long time with a very difficult kind of waiting. But there's also another waiting that's been going on, and for much longer, for another baby. It's not written on the surface of the story, but you can feel it, it's in the air. People were waiting for the coming of a particular person, and the Bible calls that person the Messiah. Now, Zechariah and Elizabeth believed the Old Testament scriptures, which had said right from the beginning that God would send someone to do something about what's wrong with the world. Now, for a moment, we're going to jump out of Luke and back into the Old Testament and show you one of those predictions. Here it is. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Now, does that reading sound a bit Christmas carol-y to you? Well, it was actually written 700 years before Luke was writing his Gospel. 700 years is a lot of waiting, and it was actually longer than that. Now, sometimes there's something that can happen when you've waited a really long time. You begin to wonder if it's ever going to happen. You might give up on it. Life has so many disappointments. Maybe with all the ups and downs of history, the dark times and the failures, this promise from the Old Testament, well, maybe it had been cancelled. Well, actually, through the millennia, it looked like the first Christmas was going to be cancelled lots of times. But actually, all those long years, the promise held true. The first Christmas was not cancelled. In fact, as this story begins, no one realised just how near it was. The day of Jesus was coming, and Zechariah and Elizabeth were the first glimpses of that dawn. This year, a lot of people thought Christmas would be cancelled. But the thing about this first Christmas, and all that it means, is that it can't ever be cancelled. Christmas 2020 might be a bit iffy, but this first Christmas is always available. And that's a really good thing, something that we're going to start to look at tomorrow.
There are 22 sleeps till Christmas.